Sweet to savory, we're cooking up a full Italian feast from this cookbook from Taste of Homes. We're going to be doing today the Taste of Italy recipes. Will these recipes deliver an Italian flavor that my family loves? Let's find out. Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be tackling 4 more recipes from this cookbook. This will be our final 4 before we do a full review of the cookbook. And we're going to be doing today the Taste of Italy recipes featuring Italian cream cheese cake, risotto balls, pinwheel rolls, and a sausage lasagna. I've not made these recipes before, so we're going to figure them out together and hopefully everything turns out. But since the Italian cream cheesecake is my favorite, we're going to start with that one first. At the end of this video, we're going to give a rating on each of these recipes on how easy was the recipe, easy to use, the cost per serving, were the ingredients easy to find, and most importantly, did the family love it? Let's get started. So first, we're going to start off with my favorite, the Italian cream cheesecake. All right, everybody, we're going to do the Italian cream cheesecake. Here's the ingredients. We need a half a cup of butter, a half a cup of shortening, 2 cups of sugar, 5 large eggs, and we'll separate those, and then they're at room temperature. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1.5 cups of sweetened shredded coconut, and 1 cup of chopped pecans. For the frosting, we're going to use cream cheese, a little bit of the butter that we have left over, and 6 cups of confectioner sugar. So let's get started. First thing first, we need to preheat the oven to 350. And we need to get our pans together. So we're using 3 9-inch pans because this is going to be a cake that is layered. So we're going to spray those with some of this Baker's Joy spray with oil, or I'm sorry, with flour in it. Says lightly, but this thing is like blowing out some grease. All right, well, we'll see what that does. All right, next we're going to cream our butter, we're going to cream our butter, our shortening, and our sugar. I'm going to do it in this bowl, and then I'm going to move it over to my stand mixer over there. Okay, so butter, half a cup of butter, softened. I had these sitting out at room temperature, or set out so they could get to room temperature. And then the shortening, half a cup of that. And sugar. So this is our sugar, 2 cups of sugar. All right, let's get this over into the stand mixer. Okay, so it said to beat it until it was light and fluffy. And it gave a time of approximately 5 to 7 minutes. So that's been, I think 7 minutes is where I ended up at. So this is where we're at now. Now we've got to beat in our yolk and our vanilla. So that was 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And this was supposed to be 5 egg yolks, but when I separated my eggs, I lost 1. And it ended up in the egg whites. So I don't know how that's going to mess it up, but we'll give it a try. So this is my first time making my own Italian cream cheese cake. And I'm starting off awesome, especially losing one yolk. And we'll see. Hopefully it's not a big deal. Okay, so we're supposed to beat that in there, but I hope that's okay. Well, we're just making our own rules up here, our own instructions. Who needs a recipe book? Okay, so this is the cream now. Let me get my trash out of the way here. So let me set this out of the way. Next, we need to mix our flour, which was 2 cups of flour. Right, let me double check. I pre-measured all this stuff, but I want to make sure. Yep, 2 cups of flour. And then our baking soda, which was 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, let me whisk that together. Combine that. And then we're going to add it to the other stuff over here, to our cream mixture, alternating it with a cup of buttermilk. So let me get my, it says to beat just until it's combined. So a little bit of flour. Okay, it's pretty dry looking. Add a little bit of buttermilk. Okay, that helped quite a bit. Last bit of flour. So I didn't say it earlier, but this recipe is supposed to make 16 servings. Okay, so that's combined, and now we need to stir in our coconut and our pecans. So that was 1.5 cups of coconut and just 1 cup of pecans. I ended up, this is 2 cups here, so I'll just put in half of this. So close. There we go. All right, and then I'll get this stirred in, and then we're going to mess with these egg whites. This looks great. Look at that. All right, let's set that aside. All right, we got this bowl. I got another bowl because I didn't know if these egg whites were gonna fit after we beat them. So we're gonna beat these until stiff but not dry. I don't know what that means. I've not messed with egg whites a lot. I mean, outside of like just separating, which I have this cool little gadget thingy that's supposed to help separate, but we see how that worked out. Okay, I'll get this whipped up and then I'll bring you back. I beat it with this electric blender, and now I'm chalking it up to that there's something about the yolk that has made this not want to fluff up like it's supposed to. So we're moving on. We're gonna move on and we're gonna see what this turns out to be. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. We'll find out together. So next, we're supposed to mix in 1/4 of this into this cream mixture, and we're going to fold it in. I don't know what that looks like. So maybe like that. I don't know. Oh, the fourth lives. Okay. It's got some air in it. Just probably not as much as it should have. All right, so that's folded in. And then it says to fold in the remaining, and then we can pour into our pans. Yeah. This is not very airy at all now that I'm trying to fold it in. Well, I guess I'm so kind of disappointed, honestly. Okay. That looks folded into me. Let's get our pans. I'll start with this one. I feel like because it's shallower, I don't want to overfill it. Okay. 1, 2. I guess these aren't going to be very tall. Very tall layers. Let's get all the goodies. Oh my gosh. Okay. A little shake, shake, shake. All right. I have a feeling that these layers are going to be pretty shallow and short, flat, because my egg yolk fiasco. But there we go. Going into the oven. I'm put both of these in the middle oven or middle rack, and then bake for 25 minutes. I'm gonna do 20 because I'm not sure if that's gonna rise like it's supposed to, and I don't want to burn it. So I'll bring you guys back as soon as it comes out of the oven. Okay, timer just went off for our cakes. Let's see. Oh, nice and golden brown. That one's spongy. I don't think I'm going to let it go any longer. This probably goes back to my egg whites not being what they're supposed to be. Overall, they look great though. Nice and golden brown. All right, we're going to let those cool, and then I'll bring you back when I start assembling. Hey everybody, welcome back. I've got our cake has been cooling for about an hour or so, so I figured while those are finishing up cooling, we'll go ahead and get started on our frosting. So for the frosting, we're going to use, forgot my spatula again. Always with the spatula. Okay, we're gonna beat together. Okay, I'm sorry. So we're gonna beat together the cream cheese, our butter, until it's smooth, and then we'll add in our confectioner sugar until it's fluffy with the vanilla. And then we'll stir in our remaining pecans. And then we get to refrigerate it. Sounds pretty straightforward. So there is that. 11 ounces of cream cheese. This is going to be 3/4 cup of butter. So there's 1/4, and then here's 2/4, aka 1/2. Okay, put those out of the way. And then we're just going to beat that together. So I will bring you back as soon as I get this whipped up. Well, I'll be honest, that came together much better than the egg whites did. So all smooth. Get the confectioner sugar in. I feel like I'm gonna have to do this in batches almost. I'm gonna save this spatula, but let me get a stiffer one. This one will mix better. And get our vanilla. Oh, I'm making a mess. Okay, I give up on this. Did it say that I was supposed to beat this together? It says stir. Nope, it says beat it in. No wonder why this is so hard. Follow the instructions. This is thick. Look how thick this is. Okay, and we still got to add this other. Dang, this is going to be so thick. Yeah, so the total is 6 cups of confectioner sugar. So each jar is 4 cups. And then the other jar was a half, so. This is so thick. I actually think my beaters are getting overheated. But it works out because this looks like we've got it mixed up. Now just get it all out of my mixer. Oh my Lord. All right. Let's see if we can get that off. All right. That is a complete mess. Okay. Now we're supposed to stir in our pecans. And that was 3/4 cup of pecans. All right, I'm being honest. That was definitely more than 3/4 cup. I think it was closer to a full cup. But who doesn't like pecans? I guess except for those who are allergic. But I don't have anybody that's allergic in my family right now, so. All right. This, I feel like it's going to be a challenge to spread. All right, so the frosting is done. So I have my handy dandy little cake tray that I'm going to try to put this on. So let me show you. I got one out already, but look how thin that is. Like, it's like an inch maybe. But that's what we're going to do. So I have always heard that if you do a cake upside down, like, it creates a better surface to ice. And I need an icing knife. So let's get this going here. Wish me luck, guys. So now that I'm thinking about it, there's not like a lot of flavoring in the icing. It's cream cheese and vanilla and sugar. So I'm hoping the Italian flavor, I say Italian flavor, the flavor of this cake comes through in the actual cake. Maybe. All right. Don't judge me, cake bakers. I'm doing the best I can do. All right, so I ended up using these springform pans. Whoa, whoa. That was almost devastating. Oh, my Lanta. Okay. I have a firm bottom on the bottom of it. Note to self, don't open the spring until you're in a safe place. Woo, we almost lost it. I'm so glad we didn't. All right, let's see if it comes off of the pan. Oh, let it go. It's not wanting to let it go. Oh, it did. Oh my goodness. And of course I don't have it straight. Dang it. Can I lift it? Do I lift it? Oh. If I get like a spatula and lift it. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is stressful. Okay. All right, maybe I can just kind of shimmy it over. All right, that's better. That's better. Kind of. Oh, this is a different size. My 9-inch pans aren't the same size. Oh no. Okay, let me get that off. Okay, okay. Oh, I gotta ice this. Oh my gosh, guys. This is stressing me out. All right, so we're gonna have a little bit lopsided cake because I didn't buy I bought 9-inch pans, but they're off. Like the springform ones are larger than like the little, like regular cake pan one. And I started with the cake pan one on the bottom. So I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I guess we'll see here in just a minute. I hope I can get some here straight. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess. All right. I think it's just easier to turn it, right? If you just turn the cake. All right. Again, like I said, don't judge me, my little baker people. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. Now this one looks small. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's get it on here. All right. Please, please come off. This one's kind of stuck in the edges. Okay. Oh, we lost some of it. But let me do a test. I mean, well, it's just hanging out. It kind of tastes like cake batter. Not cake batter. I mean, I guess it is cake batter. I mean, pancakes. Good. Good pancakes. I guess I could have put that back on here to patch up, but all right, I will work on this and then I will bring you back once I have her all done. And hopefully we have no catastrophic events in your absence. All right, guys, this is it. This is what I did. I know some of you guys, that our professionals are cringing. Here it is. I got it covered. Okay. I got the icing on the cake. So there we go. Set that over here. All right. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and then we'll start on our next recipe. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and work on our Italian pinwheel rolls. This is going to require an hour for it to rise before we punch it down, and then we'll do the roll, and then it's going to require another 30 minutes. So we're going to be coming back and forth on this. And I think in between the hour rise time and the actually forming the rolls, we're going to work on the risotto balls. For our ingredients, we are going to need 1 package or 1/4 ounce of active dry yeast, 1 cup of warm water, 1½ teaspoon of sugar, 1½ teaspoon softened butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 1/4 to 2½ cups of bread flour, and for the filling we'll use 2 tablespoons of butter melted, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley, I'm using dried, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and 6 garlic cloves minced. So first the yeast, cup of water, we're going to let that dissolve. It says that needed to be 115 to 115 to, what was it? Oh, 110, sorry. 110 to 115 to dissolve that. And it looks like it's getting dissolved. Okay, then we'll add in our 2 teaspoons of sugar. Add the sugar. And 2 or 1½ teaspoons of butter. 1. Such a small amount of butter. And that's probably closer to 2 teaspoons. That was kind of difficult to measure. All right, and then our flour. We beat until a dough is formed, and then we're supposed to roll it out onto a floured surface, but I'm going to throw it on the old mixer over there with the dough hook, because it says that we're going to have to knead this for like, what does it say, 6 to 8 minutes. Let's put it on the stand mixer. Alright, so it says 6 to 8 minutes on that, so I'll bring you back once we're done. It's been about 8 minutes on this, and it is definitely elastic. Elastic? There we go. That didn't come out right. Okay. Now, next we need to move this into a greased bowl. Grab some grease. And then we're gonna put it in here, and we're gonna cover it and let it set for an hour for the rise. You see me. Oh my Lord. I guess I'm supposed to have flour on my hands, like, oh my gosh. Okay. It says that you're supposed to turn it once. You're supposed to roll it once so that the top has grease on it too, but I'm just gonna spray it. And then we're gonna cover it. And we're gonna put it in a nice warm place, which is gonna be right on top of the oven. Okay, so that's gonna rise for an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll actually put it together. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get started on the Risotto balls, because those are going to take a little bit of time because we got to roll each ball, which is like 36 is what the recipe is going to make. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back and we are going to start on our Risotto balls. Risotto balls. For our ingredients, we are going to need 1.5 cup of water, 1 cup of uncooked rice, 2 large eggs beaten lightly, 2/3 cup of sun-dried pesto, tomato pesto, 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs that will be divided, warm marinara sauce for dipping, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. It's going to be kind of a slow start because first we'll put in our water and our rice and the salt, and then we're going to put it onto the stove and we're going to boil that to allow the rice to cook. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll come back once this is done. So it's going to take like 18 to 20 minutes to do this. Again, with the spoons. I will get better, I promise. I guess I feel like I don't have to cook with utensils. All right, let me get this over here onto the stove. And we'll let that simmer until the rice is absorbed. And then after 18 to 20 minutes, I'm supposed to let it stand for another 10 minutes and let it cool before we add in all the other stuff. So I'll bring you back once we're there. It has been an hour. And so we're going to finish up our Italian pinwheel rolls. I've had the dough sitting on the stove for an hour, and I did a little sneak peek on it, and I don't know what I did. This is not double. Like, I don't even need to punch it. Obviously the yeast didn't do something, or I don't know. I don't know, guys. But I'm just going to keep moving on. Maybe it'll rise enough whenever it's baking. Oh, this is an adventure, guys. So, all right, so lightly floured surface, and then turn this out on it. Okay. And then we're supposed to roll this out into a 12 by 10. So my work surface is a 15 by 9. So it would be like somewhere in here and then all the way to the edges here. And then we'll melt some butter and get that sprayed and sprinkled with the seasonings. So, I'm so sad, y'all. I really hope this turns out. You know what I mean? This feels like light and airy. I'm not doing a very good job at actually getting a rectangle here. I know you bakers are just cringing right now, but just bear with me. Okay. So this recipe is supposed to make 12 rolls, and I don't see why we can't get 12 out of here. That's a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be. Let me go ahead and get this warmed up. All right, so I've got this melted, and we've got our seasonings here, which I think I'm going to go ahead and mix into one bowl, and then it'll be easier to spread. So there's our 1/4 cup of Parmesan. This was a teaspoon of dried oregano. I don't know if y'all can see that. Can y'all see that over here? Barely. Okay. Parsley. Oh, okay. So I feel like, yeah, like this will be easier to spread around. So let's get this covered. And it says to stay away from the edges, about 1/2 inch. That's more like 1 inch, huh? All right. I hope this turns out. I'm gonna be so sad if it doesn't. So far, these the cake in this has been a little bit of a challenge. Okay, so use all that up. Spread this around, and then let me double check. So, okay, butter is melted, sprinkle parsley, garlic, oregano, and cheese to the edges, and then we're going to roll it up like a jelly roll style. Oh, so much garlic. I used the garlic from the jar, and I think it just is a little wet. So let me spread this around a little bit. Try to get it even. Or not. It's kind of stuck there. All right. Sprinkle this. This smells wonderful. Holy moly. I wonder if this would make like breadsticks. All right. Then it says to roll it like a jelly roll, starting with the long end. So I'm going to roll this way and then chop it. And then, so when I get to the other end, I got to pinch the roll together. Okay. Oh, and then we need to get this in a 9-inch baking pan. I don't have a 9-inch baking pan. I have a 13 by 9. Excuse me, 13 by 9 casserole dish. Let me grab that. Okay, got the casserole dish. We didn't even start the oven. What is the oven supposed to be at? Okay, bake at 350. Got scared there for a minute. I thought it didn't have the oven setting on there. So we're going to bake it at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. So let's get this, double check, make sure this is place baking pan coated with cooking spray. Okay. That's right. So we got to put it in here, and then it's going to rise for a second time for the 30 minutes. Okay. I got my handy dandy bench scraper. And let's see here. I was hoping to use these little marks here as my little gauge for 12. So I'm going to have more than 12. This one right here doesn't feel like it has much though. Okay, let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't pinch this together either. Pinch. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's 12. These look pitiful. Y'all look. This looks pitiful. They don't even look like rolls. So we're going to put these in another warm place to rise for another 30 minutes, and then we'll bake them. Okay, so we got the pinwheels on the stove for their second rise. We're going to go back to our risotto balls. Our rice has finished cooking and it's cooled now. So we'll put that in here. Okay, well, I've saved this much of the rice. Oh man, this is an adventure for sure. Okay, let me get this cleaned up. Okay. Dropped the pot. Thank goodness I emptied most of the rice before I dropped it. But anyway, let's focus back. Where were we? We got our rice in here. Okay, let that cool, and then we're going to stir in our eggs and our pesto. Let me get a fork, because this is supposed to be lightly beaten eggs. So let's get that done. Okay, eggs. I don't really know what lightly beaten means, but I'm assuming that it's like barely yolk mixed in with the white. So put that in there. And then our pesto is supposed to be 2/3 cup. This is 6 ounces. I think I'm going to put in like half of this. Okay. Mix this together. You know what? I'm just going to put the rest of this in here. I'm not going to use this pesto for anything else. Right? Like maybe... That'll give some extra seasoning here. Don't worry. It's liquidy, but we still have the pinko crumbs to put in here. So we're going to do half of this. right? Because it was 2 cups of panko crumbs divided, and then one will go in here to roll it in, and then the other will be mixed in here. So then we're supposed to take and make an inch, 1 inch and a quarter size balls. So I am just going to use this. I feel like that's like what, an inch and just a little bit more, right? Okay. And then, oh, the other thing is we have to have a greased baking pan. I have that here. Okay. Now we just have an assembly line. So it says to roll this in here. Pat to help coating. Okay. Kind of fragile. Okay, that worked out. I think that's a pretty good size. All right, so now it's just like rinse and repeat. Okay. All right, so I will bring you back when I get all 36 of these rolled. Okay, here's our first batch. And so these are going to go into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so I'll bring you back in 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so the oven just went off, and let's see what our risotto balls look like. Ooh, they look good. This one kind of fell apart a little bit. Oh, yeah, they're actually pretty solid. All right, well, I'll get these cooled off and plated, and we'll have them for dinner. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour. I let these set while I cooked the risotto balls. Risotto balls? I don't know why I feel like I'm not saying that right. And I left them kind of on the oven by this back vent to get a little more heat. So I'm thinking what happened was I didn't have it in a warm enough place, which makes sense because we keep our house actually pretty cold. But these actually did rise. So they look like they might turn out. But with it being an hour into that, I think it's time that we go ahead and put it in the oven. So, and these are going to bake at 350. 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so now it's time for the main event. I've got the pinwheel rolls in the oven, but we're going to go ahead and get started on the actual lasagna. For our sausage lasagna, we are going to need 1 pound of bulk Italian sausage. Our grocery store didn't have Italian sausage, so I'll be adding this Italian seasoning to my sausage. 1 medium onion chopped, 2 garlic cloves minced, 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, 8 ounces of tomato sauce, 6 ounces of tomato paste, 3 teaspoons of dried basil, 3/4 a teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg beaten lightly, 1 carton 15-ounce of whole milk ricotta cheese, 1.5 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 12 no-cook lasagna noodles, and 4 cups of shredded part skim mozzarella cheese. First, cook our sausage, and then we're going to add our onion in it until it's no longer pink, and then we'll add in our garlic, tomato paste, and then we'll get that going in down to a simmer. So we'll get that going. Okay, so that is going pretty well. I'm going to add in our onion. So I had some that I cut my onion up and then I freeze it. So I have some that were frozen still. Saved me a little bit of time. So I'll continue to cook this down until our onions get translucent and our sausage is no longer pink. Okay, so I got that drained, and now we need to add in our garlic and tomato paste. I love that smell of garlic. All right, tomato paste, get all of that. Interesting that I wanted tomato paste. It says to stir for 1 minute. So stir for a minute. All right, tomatoes. This is crushed tomatoes. And the tomato sauce. 8 ounces of that. And then our basil, which was 3 teaspoons. And then we'll add our salt and pepper. It says we're supposed to reduce the heat on here, and then we're going to let this simmer. And it was supposed to be 3/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, but I like pepper, so we'll do that. And then for salt, it was supposed to be 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Man, this stovetop is not cooling down. Okay, because this is supposed to come to a simmer. Come over here and work on our filling. And it is in the bowl, we have our egg, the 15 ounces of ricotta cheese, 1¼ cup of Parmesan cheese, and then we get to start our casserole or our lasagna. Ricotta, all 15 ounces of that. Boom. And then we need 1¼ cup of the Parmesan. Do 1. Okay, wait, what does it say? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't needing to divide this out. All right, I'm guessing on the 1/4. This is thick too. What is going on? I guess it'll spread. I guess yeah, it kind of probably will spread whenever it gets hot. Okay, so this is ready. We're just now waiting for our meat sauce to be done, and then we can start the layering. So let me bring you back whenever we get that done. Okay, so that went off. Let's see what an extra 5 minutes did. Ooh, they look good. They're not as pretty as the picture, but pretty good for something I didn't think was going to turn out. So I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Now we got to get ready for our lasagna, and the oven is going to be at 400. And we got to start the layering. So, okay. So now I've got my pan all cleared out. We're going to layer meat and then the ricotta. So it does say I need to have this greased. There's a little bit of grease left from my rolls, but just to be sure. Okay. Looks like we're going to use this. So this is 1/4 cup. 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then let's spread that around. So we're going to use a total of 12 noodles. Okay, so it's meat and then our noodles. So these oven ready ones. I didn't count them, so it says to use 4. This is layer with 4 noodles. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I guess there is a little bit of overlap on that. I don't know how to get that in there. Okay. Then ricotta, which is also going to be 1 1/4 cup. 1, 2, 3. It says 1 1/4 cup, but like this looks kind of thin. Or I don't think I'm gonna have enough for 3 layers. Like the recipe is saying that I'm gonna have. So let's spread this out and see where we are. Okay. All right, so then we top with mozzarella. And mozzarella is supposed to be 1 1/2 cups. So everything is like 1 1/4, 1 1/2. Okay, and then we repeat. That is that. All right, now we're going into the oven for 30 minutes. So we're gonna cover it with a greased foil. That makes more sense to me. Okay, grease this real quick. Okay, and then this will bake for 30 minutes covered. All right, and that was 30 minutes covered. So then we do an additional 10 minutes uncovered. Ooh wee, look at that cheese. Okay. All right, another 10 minutes. I'll be back in a minute. Or 10. All right. Let us see what we got. Oh, wow. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. Looks good. All right, so let me get it dished up and the family in, and we'll do our taste test. All right, Jake, tell us about the lasagna. What did you think of it?
It was great, and it tasted like pizza.
So out of 4 stars, how many stars do you give it?
3.5.
3.5 stars from Jake. Cole?
Is that out of 5 stars? Or 4 stars?
4.
I'd probably give it a 4.
For the lasagna?
Yeah.
So you plan on eating it again?
Yep.
Dad?
4 stars. It was amazing.
I also give it a 4 out of 4 stars. It surprised me. Okay, the risotto ball, Jake. The risotto ball. What's your rating on that?
It was like crispy, so out of 4 stars, I'd give it like a 2.9.
So you didn't like the crispiness of it?
No.
Okay, risotto ball there, Coleman.
I'd probably give it a 3.5 stars. I liked it a lot, but I really like the chewiness of it. But I mean, I don't like how the breaded of it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I agree with that. I understand that.
I'm gonna go 3.5. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I will give it a 3 as well. It was good, an even 3, because it was good, but I think the panko crumbs were crunchy. Like it didn't match the texture of the chewiness after it had cooled off a little bit. Okay, next we have our pinwheel roll. Jake, what do you think about the roll?
It was dry, but it still tasted good. I'd give it like a 2 stars, because that's half.
Okay, 2 stars for the pinwheel roll. Coleman?
I'd give it a 3.5 stars because I feel like it's kind of like garlic bread, but it's like garlic bread pretzel plus a roll.
Garlic bread pretzel roll?
Plus a roll.
Plus a roll. Oh, okay, yes. I think that was the goal of it. Dad?
I would go 2 if it's dry, 3 if marinara is included.
Okay. I think, a 2 with it just by itself. It was kind of dry. I was thinking with the butter it was going to be a little bit softer. But with the spicy marinara sauce, it brought it up to I could go with the marinara and the bread as a 4. It's a good combination, but I couldn't do one or the other by itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just move it.
All right, Jake, tell us about the Italian cream cheesecake. What's your rating?
6 out of 10.
It's 4 out of 4 stars, bud.
So, I guess it'd be like a 2.1, I guess.
It's just stars. You don't have to give it fractions.
I don't care.
Okay, so 2 stars. Coleman?
I'm about to sneeze.
I can do half stars.
I give it 3.5. I like the crunchiness of it. And I like the cake of it. I like it.
Why doesn't it get a 4?
I just don't feel like the flavor is all there. I think it's pretty sweet.
Okay, Dad?
I'm going to give it 4 stars, although I didn't think that I would like it. It's actually really good.
Have you ever had an Italian cream cheesecake before?
If I did, it was as a kid many years ago.
So this is my favorite, and it's been a while since I've had an Italian cream cheesecake, but this is pretty dang good. I forgot about the crunchiness of it, and with the little coconut flakes in there, so good. So 4 out of 4 for me.
Ooh.
So as promised, let's go over our recipes, and we're going to start with the Italian cream cheesecake to give it a recipe score. For the cake, the instructions seemed easy, but the actual task was a little difficult. As you saw in the video, I was struggling with the layering. So I'm giving it in neutral, so 3 points for the instructions. The ingredients were readily available. I had no problem finding those at the grocer. So that's a 5. The cost per serving, the cake recipe made 16 servings, which calculated out to $1.46 per serving. That's using Walmart, my local Walmart prices for the food items. Overall, the family gave it 3.75 stars, as you already heard. So I rounded that up to 4 stars, giving this recipe a total of 3.6 out of 5. Next up, we have our risotto balls, and the instructions were easy to follow, but the task was tedious, like having to roll each of those 36 balls into the panko crumbs. So I'm giving it a neutral just because of the tediousness of it. All the ingredients were easy. We're at the local grocer. So I'm giving that a 4, but because I did have to go to several different places within the store to find tomato pesto, and then ultimately had to end up asking somebody to help me find it. Cost per serving, the recipe made 32 servings, and it calculated out to 27 cents per ball. So we're going to go ahead and give that a 5. Overall, the family gave it 3 stars. So that's going to give it a 4 points. Total score for this recipe was 3.2 out of 5. Next up, we have our Pinwheel Rolls. And the instructions were pretty easy to follow, but it required you to already know what a jelly roll was, because that's the reference that they used when trying to tell you how to roll the dough to form the pinwheel. So I'm giving that a neutral because that's an assumed thing that the cook would have had knowledge of. All the ingredients were easy to find, no issue with getting those at the grocery store. For the cost, the recipe made 12 servings and it ended up being 43 cents per roll. Overall, the family gave it only 2 stars, and so the total score for this recipe is 3.2 out of 5. Next we have is our lasagna, the star of the show, and the instructions were easy to follow, especially for a lasagna. I was kind of intimidated by all the layering and all that stuff, but when I got in there and started doing it, it was pretty easy to assemble. The ingredients were easy to find. I had no problem getting any of those. The cost per serving, it did make 12 servings, and the cost ended up being $2.10 per serving, just pushing it out of that under $2 range, giving it 4 points for that. Overall, the family did like it. Again, they gave the fraction stars, so it ended up being like 3.87 stars. So I rounded that up to 4, giving this recipe a 3.6 out of 5. So this concludes our review, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for the next recipe.